YouTube, welcome back to the channel. This tutorial is super important, guys, because like on every single one of my videos, I'm gonna be using the same haircutting system, no matter whether it's curly hair, straight hair, long hair, short hair, no matter what, the same fading system always works. You just need to learn which one is the right one. And that's what I'm gonna be bringing you today, guys. Welcome back to the channel. And if you don't already know me, my name's Tito, and I make well over 6 figures in the barber industry. I just wanna show you guys the easiest haircutting method that helped me get to that point where I was able to fit so many people in my schedule with full confidence, man. Like I'm done feeling nervous when a haircut comes in my chair. I want you to feel the same way, guys. Now, just like with any other style, you got long hair like this, man, you're gonna wanna go ahead and section the hair according to the growth patterns. You'll notice I split the hair according to pretty much the crown, right? I'm connecting the crown to the 2 recession points, so that way we can really focus on setting the foundation of the haircut, right? So just like with anything, I'm gonna be starting the bald fade with the clipper all the way closed. Now, the reason why you want to go with the clipper closed as opposed to what a lot of other barbers are going to teach you on YouTube going in with the trimmer is because the clipper closed, it will give you that bald line that you can follow, that point of reference. Like this is where I want the bald point to be in the fade. However, if you put it in with a trimmer, you know, you'll get that effect and it'll be a very precise line and it's good. But the problem is that it's going to be a very harsh, very sharp line, right? So the whole point of this is that you want to get a good haircut, but you want it to be done efficiently. And that's something that would actually slow me down a lot of times, guys. I would get to the end of the haircut and I would be trying to fade out this super sharp bald line, and I would end up pushing my fade way too high. So this is something that's gonna give you some control and just make it a lot easier to keep your fade where it needs to be. Now, I read the comments and I'm listening to the feedback that you guys gave me, and I will have reference pictures in the bottom right of this video showing you what tool we're using at that moment at all times, so it can be a little bit easier for you guys to follow. So leave a comment down below if you appreciate that and if that's something that really does help you follow along. Now, when it comes to that secondary guideline, guys, like we fade a little bit different around here, right? But we do it the same way every single time for a reason. You already saw, instead of the trimmer, I go clipper close for the bald line. Now for the secondary guideline, instead of just opening up the lever and creating a line with no guard open, I actually like to go in with the half guard all the way closed. Now it's still gonna give you just about the same length, if not maybe just a little bit of a softer line. And that's what the purpose of this would be, so that it's so much easier to go back in and fade that line out. See, at the end of this, when we bring this whole blend together, guys, it's going to be much easier to fade from guard to guard rather than blade to guard. So this is something I highly recommend, guys. I would definitely suggest you look into this. Try it on your next cut. It's going to be so much of a softer line, and you'll see how easy it comes out at the end of this as we bring this blend to a close. But this is the secondary guideline, half guard, closed. Now, the next step is you need to create a little bit of shape. You need to remove a little bit of bulk and get ready to fade it down. Now, typically you'll see me do this with the number 4 guard, actually, right? If you've seen my other videos, if the hair texture is appropriate for it, use the number 4 guard. But in this case, since he has so much length, and I did have to spray down and wet the hair just to be able to control it and keep everything sectioned correctly, I found that using the clipper over comb method gives me about the same length that I was using before, using the number 4 guard. So I feel like this step can be interchangeable. So that's why I think it's important for you guys to memorize the process, not necessarily memorize the steps, right? Not everybody's hair is going to react the same to each individual step, but you find a way to still continue the same process. I hope that makes sense. Leave a comment down below if that makes sense to you, or if I confuse the heck out of you, maybe I need to clarify that a little more in the next video. But you guys let me know, man. I respond to every single one of the comments. So now that we have already established the primary guideline, the secondary guideline, we've removed the bulk, which, like I said, depending on the situation, you could use the 4 guard or you could do clipper over comb. Now we're gonna start working, pretty much erasing all those lines of demarcation right here in between the two, the top bulk and the bottom bald line, right? We're gonna start to mesh and merge all these layers together. So you could use, if you're not fully comfortable skipping guards, you definitely can use your number 3, your number 2, your number 1.5. I like to skip directly to the number 1.5 guard with the lever open starting, right, you can use a very soft motion using pressure at the bottom and floating your way up and off the head. So it's kind of similar to what you would do, for example, with your number 4 guard. You're just creating the shape, but you're blending at the same time, right? So start with this open, and then after you do everything you can with that 1.5 guard open, take your lever halfway, work with it there. Take your lever closed, work with it there. Just little by little, you're chipping away at the lines of demarcation. So yeah, little by little, you just take this all the way around the head. And, you know, I hope that watching this motion, like I said, pressure at the bottom, floating your way up and off the head, I hope this helps you understand why it's not always necessary to use every single guard. If you can get to a place where you're comfortable skipping guards, it can help you maintain your efficiency at such a high level. You'd be surprised at the amount of work you can get done in 15, 20, 25 minutes. So now we're gonna run it back again with the same motions, guys. Remember that secondary guideline that we put in with the half guard all the way closed. The easiest way to blend that line out is gonna be with the half guard itself. Now, if I start with the lever all the way open, I can use that pressure at the bottom and floating my way up and off the head. I can use that same motion to slowly erase that last line of demarcation that we have. You know, you may remember in the beginning of this, I said it's easier to fade from guard to guard than it is to fade from guard to blade. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Look at that little area of demarcation I'm working the clipper over right now. And if I start with this open and I go through it, cut everything I can, then I go halfway and go over it, cut everything that I can. Now all the way closed, you can see how that starts to erase and give a really nice soft blend that is so much easier to work with. So leave a comment down below and let me know if you agree or if it makes sense with what I was saying. It's easier to blend from guard to guard than it is to blend clipper to guard, right? Like clipper blade to guard. I hope that makes sense. That's how it clicks in my head. And it seems like my explanations have been working for you guys. A lot of y'all have been saying that the methods that we go over and review on this channel have really helped a lot. So just let me know. I want to make sure that we're continuing to be effective and just helping make this career something easier for you guys. So we're just about all blended as far as those different levels of demarcation go. Now we just have to knock out the very bottom line. Now I truly believe that this is one of the most important parts of the haircut tutorial, man. Like, I remember knocking out this bottom line was the biggest point of anxiety for me while I was cutting hair. Like, I've put all this work into being able to make a low fade, and now I don't want to turn it into a mid fade, or I've done a high fade and I don't want it to turn to a south side fade, right? That's the thing, is that you have to understand that yes, you're 100% justified in being nervous that I'm gonna push the line too high. But please notice that every time you move a little bit higher, your clipper, right? We all can control the lever on our clipper. We can make sure that it gets longer as it gets higher. So how can I break this down? Let's say we put that line in with the clipper all the way closed. Now you can break through that line with the clipper all the way closed just using a very soft motion, and you'll be able to see that here. Now it's time to raise the line a little higher, so I'm gonna move the lever open just one notch. Now I can push that line a little bit higher, and I'll do it again. It's time to go higher, so I'm gonna open it a little more, and then go higher and open it more, and higher and open it more. And before you know it, you're all the way at the point where you can see here that the clipper all the way open is blending perfectly into the half guard area that we were working with earlier. So I hope that all makes sense. Leave a comment down below if that makes sense to you in your mind. You know, like let me know if that eases the anxiety, kind of calms your mind a little bit about that fear, because I know that fear used to terrify me. It used to make my haircuts take longer. But that's where the whole fading system comes in, right? we put the bald line in with the clipper because we need a soft bald line to work with, something easy to blend, something that's not going to take up, you know, extra time and give us extra anxiety. I put the secondary guideline in with the half guard all the way closed for the same reason. The half guard closed is easier to fade out than no guard all the way open. I'm not saying that the traditional way of cutting hair is wrong, because clearly we've been doing it for years and the haircuts come out great. I want to teach you an anxiety-free way about going about this. And for me, that's what this accomplishes. So now this point of the haircut is why I like to start with the clipper all the way closed. Now obviously, we need to make sure that it is as tight as possible at the bottom, especially if your client wants like a real smooth bald finish at the very bottom. But if we can start with this clipper all the way closed, and you can see how the trimmer now, just below that, will flow perfectly up into and through that bald line that you started with, right? So there's a reason for everything that we do in this system, especially that very first step. You know, taking this trimmer, man, and blasting through the bulk. Number one, you need to have a well-powered trimmer that can handle this, right? But by the time that you get right up to that bald, that finish, you know, that you did with the at the very start with the clipper closed, you can just flow right through it, man. There's no question about how high you need to go with the trimmer now at this point, you know? So leave a comment down below. Does it now make sense, now that you've kind of seen this come together, does it now make sense why a lot of barbers may leave that bulk at the very bottom of the haircut to the end? You know, some people see that and they're like, oh, that's messy, that's sloppy. But in my opinion, it really helps the efficiency and kind of just keeping my mind organized and not getting distracted while I'm cutting hair. So if that makes sense, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about that. And now, of course, at this point, guys, we've already knocked out everything that you need to with the trimmer. You know, the hair's already as short as it needs to. Some clients don't want that super smooth bald finish, and if they don't want that, then cool, you're already done. You've accomplished the blurry blend. But my client does like a smooth bald finish at the very bottom. So you'll notice I'm using the shaver head and I'm doing a little bit of with the grain, a little bit of against the grain, just to make sure that I don't go in and put in another harsh line. That was always the thing that would slow me down when I was a new barber, is I would go in and I would always find a way to mess up the haircut at the end, which would make me late for my next appointment, right? Going down with the grain first, as you could see, and then slowly, you know, hitting the very bottom against the grain. That is something that can help you not make using the shaver for a bald finish of a fade a nightmare. So let me know what you think about that, guys. But at the end of it, man, this is the finished product. I'm glad that you stuck around to this point of the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and please leave a comment down below letting me know if this helped ease your anxiety about cutting hair. I'll catch you guys in the next video. And by the way, guys, if you need business coaching and you need help making more money inside the barbershop, driving traffic, running ads, click the link in the description down below. I'll be one of your coaches in the 6-Figure Barber Mentorship. I'm excited to work with you guys, man. I'll see you soon.